Hello everyone, welcome back. In today's tutorial, we will be discussing about events and observers in Magento. We will be dissecting this topic in couple of stages. The first stage is we will discuss the logical implementation of events and observers, what events and observers are. Second, we will understand what are the default Magento events that are present in core code and how we can observe those events. And third, we will be creating a custom event and we will be dispatching it. So let's begin. First thing, what is event and what are observers? As the name suggests, event is something that any action when it occurs, it's called event. In layman term, if a rain falls, it's called an event. If a bird flies, it's called an event. The bird flew. If let's say a train crashed, so that's also an event, the train crashed. Each event comes with certain data. For example, whenever a train crashed, let's say there are n number of people that got injured, x number of people got killed. Now, this event are something that are not bind, they are loosely coupled. So an event is being fired. Now the onus upon observing that event lies on observers. So whenever an event occurs, the event is being dispatched and that event can be then recorded by a single observer or a multiple observers. And that's what observers do. Observers are the class that are configured to record an event and perform certain actions. Again, in a layman term, if we talk about day-to-day life, let's say an event occurred when a train crashed. So that's an event. A media organization is, let's say, an observer. So a media organization will record that event, will take testimonies of the survivors, and then they will publish it in the news. So that's an observer. So that is the whole concept of event and observer in a layman term. Now coming back to the technical implementation, how events and observers work in Magento. Okay, so events are dispatched by modules whenever a certain action occurs, and observers are the type of classes that are configured to observe such events. There are different event areas in Magento. The first one being global. Any events being observed in global area will be observed whether the event is being fired from front end, from back end, or from the APIs. Second is admin HTML. So all the admin events can be recorded and observed from this directory: cron tab, front end, GraphQL, REST, and SOAP API. So there are 7 different type of areas where events can be recorded and the observers can be configured. The events recorded under front end will only be recorded if that event is fired from a front end area. If it is an admin HTML event, then it is from admin HTML area. If it's from cron tab event, then it's from cron tab area, and hence further. There's a certain list of events that are available with Magento. Those are the predefined events which Magento dispatches at different occurrences. And the name of the event pretty much explains where those events might have been dispatched. So let's see a few of them. Let's say controller front sent response before. So before the response is being sent by controller, that event has been dispatched. Cron job run. Once the cron job runs, this event is dispatched. Customer login, customer logout. Again, pretty clear. Now, what we will try to do is we'll be using this customer login event and try to create an observer and understand how these events can be used and can be processed. This is an official documentation of Magento, which has list of all the events that are pre-configured in Magento or that are already dispatched from the vendor folder. We will be using this one, customer login. So let's start our practical assignment now. I already have created a basic module so that we don't need to go through it again. The name of the module is demo_event observer. Now what we will do is we want to observe a customer login event. So the first step of ours will be under the etc create events.xml file. No, we will be creating a front end under etc. We will be creating a front end and event.xml file because we want to observe a front end event. Let's create the file. I will copy down some of the code that I have already written so that we save some of our time. All right. So now we have configured this event we are observing the event customer login, and this is the name of the observer. This should be a unique name. We have named it as customer login after, and this is the class which is the observer that will be recording this event. We will be naming it login after. One important thing to notice, every observer usually goes under this observer folder. So we will create an observer folder over here, and we'll create this class login after. All right, let's write some boilerplate code. Now, every observer implements observer interface. All right, this is enough for us. Now, what we will do is we will use event observer. The default class to observe an event is execute. So the default method to observe an event is execute, and the parameters to be passed is observer. Over here, we will be getting data dispatched from an event. We can get the value of that data using the observer get data method. Observer tends to get name, gives us the name of an event. What we need to do is we simply need to get the data for now. Let's call it as data. Now let's do one thing. Now let's record what data we have got over here in a log file. So we'll be using logger interface for this. PSR logger interface. And we'll be setting it via constructor. We are printing the data. Because the data will always be in array, we need to do a print underscore r in a debug file. That's it. Let's clear the cache. Okay, and let's run our code. I already have created one user, so I will simply log in. We have used this customer login event, which is being dispatched from this file. And this file show you how it is dispatched also. So this is where it is dispatched. This is the name of the event, and this is the data it has passed. So it has passed the customer information after the customer is logged in. So we should get all the information about the customer over here. All right, let's do login. I'm logged in now, and the observer should have passed, and we should get the data in our debug file. Let's see. Okay, we didn't got the data. That's because we might have to do a setup upgrade. I'm also verifying some other things to check if I haven't made any other mistakes. This is okay. All right, everything is fine. Let's again try. Yes, I see the mistake. So this is very important. A small spelling mistake and the whole code won't work. I have named it as event. However, it should be events.xml. Clearing the cache, and let's try now. All right, the event should now be fired. And here we see you've got the email, first name, last name, store ID, website ID, address, which is again an array, and the entity ID and the group ID. So what we have done over here is we have observed the customer login event, taken the data of the customer, and further to it we can do any business logical implementation that's needed.